Charles Wells has been slinging beer in Bedford, England since 1876. The company itself went on to purchase Young's Brewery outright in 2011, taking control of beers including Young's Bitter and Young's Double Chocolate Stout. The Banana Bread beer is one of the company's year-round offerings and has been around since 2002. But is it worth checking out? Find out now on Two Dudes Reviews.
What up, guys? Yeah, today we have Wells Banana Bread beer. Normally you'll probably see this in bottle form. I saw it in can, and I actually rode my bike to pick up some beers, and I thought, let's get the cans and just be safe. I don't need glass shards breaking in my backpack. But this is one of those beers I think I've seen it a million times at the store. I've always eyed it, but I've always kind of picked up something else. So I'm very interested to try it out. The dude checking me out at the cash register said that it's a good beer. So we'll see if the cashier at Total Wine is right or not. But anyways, let's crack this bad boy open. Give it a pour. Now it's one of those. I have this book. It's Michael Jackson's 500 beers to drink before you die. And not the singer, the Michael Jackson, the beer hunter. Rest in peace. I can't remember. He passed away several years ago. But he was one of the guys that really started off on just writing, and I don't even know if blogging was a thing when he was doing it, but writing about beer. And so his opinion I really, really respected for a beer, and I have this book of 500 beers to check out. And so if I can remember, of course, there's so many things, and the beer labels have changed over the years. I'll try to pick out stuff that I see and that's in that book. And for some reason I was thinking this was in it, but it's not. But definitely, if you want a great book on some high quality, high end beer that's not just the local micro beers that are popping up all over the place, check that out. I highly recommend it. And a lot of the I find for me, a lot of the American IPAs that I really dig are the ones that have they've been around. It's almost like they made the IPAs, the brewers made the IPAs before it became the style of beer in the United States. And so the ones that are still around, you have the Dogfish Head 90 minute or 120 minutes, or the Bell's Two Hearted, or Founders Centennial. Those kind of beers, it's really quality. There's a lot of IPAs that are just really just crappy out there now, and it's just they just make it bitter to be bitter. But I don't. Anyways, there's some great IPAs in that book, and I kind of was killing time while I was pouring this. Check out the Michael Jackson beer books. But anyways, let's get into the smell of Wells Banana Bread beer. There is actually a very nice kind of banana bread aroma to it. It's kind of like you just took that loaf of bread out and almost the crunchy cinnamony layer on top of the bread. That's maybe you get almost in a seasonal loaf of bread, where I don't even know what that's with the little chunks that they put on top of the bread with the cinnamon and the whatever makes it crunchy. I don't know. That's what it smells like. It's got a very banana cinnamon kind of aroma to it. Maybe some. No, I was going to say raisin. That's definitely banana. I'm trying to think if there's. I don't know if there's a little bit of nutmegs. There's little spice in there too. Not quite a Christmas beer, but definitely there's some spice in there. Yeah, it really, really does smell like a banana loaf of bread. The can's not lying, and it smells very interesting. So I'm gonna recommend. There might be also, I don't know if some raisiny date kind of thing going on too. But it smells interesting. It's got my attention, so I'm gonna recommend it for smell. All right, let's get into the taste. All right, you do have some of that like banana nut right at the tip. The banana taste lingers. It's not as, I was almost expecting it to be a little more hoppy, a little more bitter. I really thought that was going to be. And like, I'm not the biggest IPA fan. I like a good one, but I almost really kind of wish there was a little more hoppiness to this. I feel like after you get that initial banana nut characteristic, it kind of just flatlines a little bit. Like there's a little, definitely kind of it's almost like they used a mild amber beer as the base and then built on the banana nut on top of it. But again, there's not a lot of bitterness. IBU might be in the 20 range. And it just kind of, the flavor's there and then just drops off and there's nothing. It's surprisingly, it doesn't stay with you for very long. And it's much lighter than I was expecting, especially for a British beer. A lot of times, like those British pub ales kind of linger a little longer. And I guess maybe I was just assuming that's what it was, since it's a British beer. I was assuming it was going to kind of linger and stay with me longer. But I mean, you can tell almost instantly, as soon as you taste it, that this beer is not going to last. The flavor's not going to last long. It's kind of, you remember those zebra like bubble gum you had as a kid? They came in those giant packs and they always had the different colors, and you chew the piece of gum for like 3 minutes and then it'd be like no flavor at all, and you just go through a giant like 25 pack in a day because it's just flavor's gone. This is almost kind of like the zebra chewing gum of the beer. Like, it's a very interesting initial flavor, but then it just dies. It just completely crashes and burns. So yeah, it's got a nice flavor up front. I just wish it lasted longer. It's just, that flavor has not lasted long. There's no double mint gum. The beer on the label says, long ago, ale was known as liquid bread. We've used our long history of creating the finest malt blends and added fair trade bananas to awaken the sense with a seriously fruity, rich yet surprisingly versatile banana bread beer. I didn't read any of this. I just grabbed the can. Tempting Banoffee aromas. Banoffee. I don't know what that is. And flavors are balanced by the silky richness of a masterful malt blend and the peppery spice of the freshest, ripest hops. I don't know, man. I'm not getting like any of that. Okay, I get the, it does almost have a little bit of a toffiness to it. And okay, silky's a little bit, I could go for that. It kind of silkily dies with the flavor. But hops, I'm not getting a strong, I mean, there's a little bit, but not overtly there. And peppery spice, I mean, there's a little bit of like spice, like I said, with the banana nut, but I'm almost getting more of like a cinnamony nutmeg kind of thing. I'm not getting that pepper. Fair trade bananas. I need fair trade in my bananas in my beer. Again, it's 5.2% alcohol, which is surprising. It does not taste like it'd be that high. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give it a half. Like, it's got a nice intro flavor, and then it just kind of gone. So I'll give it a half. Okay, next category is value for price. Kind of linger on the last one a little longer. Yeah, value for price, and I mean it's an import from the UK. Normally you're going to pay a little more than that. I believe this was about $3.50 for the one can, which is, you know, okay, not great, not terrible, but I'm gonna give it a half on value for price. I feel like if the flavor was a little lasted longer, I'd be more likely to recommend it for value for price, but yeah, I'll give it a half on that. Okay, next category is distinction. How distinct is it? And to be fair, it is pretty distinct. I haven't had too many banana bread beers before. And I believe this one was kind of around longer than a lot of the new fruity beers. Like you see a lot of like the wheat fruit beers coming out. I think this goes pretty well. The banana nut. I mean, it doesn't say nut in it, but it's got that banana nut bread kind of flavor to it, with kind of your standard British, brownish ale. I think it's got a nice combination for the most part. Outside of the flavor not really lasting, I mean, it goes well together. And I think a lot of other places, if they made banana beer, they just go straight to the banana extract addition at the end of the brewing process, where you don't even really have real banana flavor. It's more of just the imitation stuff added. But so yeah, distinction. I will recommend it for distinction. I don't know if I've ever had any other banana bread beers before. And okay, next category is drinkability, and actually it drinks pretty well too. It's smooth. It's got a nice crisp ending. It almost tastes a little apple-y at the end. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. But yeah, there's no problem with it. I think even as the beer gets a little warmer, it won't be that big of a deal. A lot of British beers, you can kind of sit on for a little bit, and it won't kind of hinder the flavor all that much. So yeah, I think it's not because it's not overtly hoppy. It's pretty easy to drink. I'm gonna have to look up the IBUs on this, just because they're mentioning hops, so right on the label. But yeah, so I'll recommend it on drinkability. And okay, last category is would I buy it again, and it's interesting. Again, the flavor is pretty good. I would like it to last longer, but that's just me. It's interesting. I haven't had really any other banana beers before. It's definitely not going to be at the top of my order for beers to get, but maybe. I'll put it at a half. I wouldn't, if somebody had it there, I wouldn't say no. I might get it again. I mean, I'm not anti the beer, so I'm going to give that a half as well. But, so yeah, that is my review of Wells Banana Bread Beer. It's a fine tasting beer. It's easy to drink. It goes down smooth. I just wish the flavor lasted longer. But other than that, it's worthwhile. I definitely say check it out. If you have a booze store around town that's larger than your standard Walmart beer selection, it'll probably have some sort of Wells in there, because I think Wells has a few other beers too. I was going to say off the top of my head, I feel like Green King out of the UK owns them, but I might be totally off, because Green King seems to own a lot of the beers. I might be totally contradicting whatever the information that I put at the beginning of this video is, because I have not done the research yet. I like to go in blind with the beers. But anyways, yeah, that's beer. If you like Wells Banana Bread Beer, let me know in the comments. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. If you have other beers you think I should check out or whatever, do that as well. I'm going to try to start posting a lot more regularly now. I've been kind of off, bouncing all over the place. I have, I think, some really great little travel beer videos to check out. They're called Micro Brews Traveler. Even if you've never been to these places, I go to like a different city, like I go to Lima, Peru, and Cusco, Peru. I'll be in Juarez, Mexico in a little bit. And it's just kind of like focus on the micro beers of that city because, you know, we don't, in the United States, we don't really know, at least I didn't know of anything about the micro beers in these different cities, so I just find it interesting. But, so check those out. They're only like between 4 and 7 minutes long. And the production value is, I think, much higher than any other stuff I put out. But, yeah, that is my review. If you want to check that out, we will have a lot of new stuff coming out at the beginning of the year. We have a new website that we'll be posting, and you can check out our podcast on that. If you haven't listened to the podcast, I only have it on YouTube right now, which I'm sorry. I'm still trying to correct the podcast feed from my old. That's a mess. And so that's going up. I will actually have a book coming out on that, so you want to check that out in the coming probably the next 2 months. I think, you know, check that out. But yeah, that is everything for the time being. And again, I'm gonna try to post these a lot more regularly, so I'll try to get more beer reviews out. So if there's something you want me to, some kind of beer you want me to review or do whatever, let me know. But for now, for myself and for Wells Banana Bread Beer, take it easy.